Saipan development representatives admit there may have been some problems in the company's controversial power purchase contract, even when it was signed by Governor Fitiao and former Attorney General Ed Buckingham last August.
Nobody's trying to gouge anybody. Here's one of the real big problems with it. You ask some questions we really can't give hard answers to because it wasn't all finished. We were coming back. We had hotel reservations 30 days after the meeting. Buckingham was leaving. We knew that. The governor was leaving right away to go to Florida. We had to get a contract signed so we could go back to see if we could get this financing we had been talking about. These people were out here. We looked. They want to see a contract. So that was the whole deal.
That's Saipan development consultant Ken Mahmood, who's here on island along with fellow consultant Jason Osbourne, defending a controversial power deal that they say is part of the company's bigger plan to build a shipyard. The power purchase agreement is now under injunction and the subject of a taxpayer lawsuit. Though the company maintains it's a valid contract, Mahmood and Osbourne acknowledge it may have needed more work, or at least clarification.
If there had to be some revisions, which we knew, CUC wasn't happy. We already knew that. We knew they didn't have any money. Like the governor said, we're going to have to fix this. So.
And if clarification needs to be made, then we'll make the clarification. Yeah. But the bottom line is the power plant project is secondary to what we want to accomplish. And we want to be good neighbors. We want to employ CNMI residents to work on the shipyard. And we wanted to put a good faith effort towards making the power plant a good first endeavor.
Mahmood and Osbourne claim that a new power plant will save CUC and ratepayers millions in utility costs and at least 10% off of current rates. But according to the terms of the actual contract, that promise is not so clear-cut.
That contract is the best possible contract for Saipan. That power plant is the best possible deal for Saipan. You save $15 million a year in fuel alone. The engineers, the independent firm that we hired, said that's not a problem. Those new generators are so much more fuel efficient than what they've got. Meeting 10% won't even be a problem.
But two of the many issues raised by CUC officials and assistant AGs before the deal was signed centered on the lack of contract language specifying the types of engines that would be brought in and the lack of a guarantee that rates would actually be reduced.
That's not true. Read the contract.
I did.
You did. Did you see a spot there where it says 10%?
It's a goal.
No, it's a guarantee. It's a guarantee that we give you 10%. It'll be better than 10%.
So KSPN checked and double-checked that PPA section on fuel efficiency and cost reduction, which is pretty straightforward. It says the parties intend that the plant will produce electricity with a 10% or greater efficiency than what's produced now. It also says it's the goal of the parties that through this improved efficiency, CUC will achieve a minimum 10% reduction in cost for consumers. We also checked and rechecked meeting minutes of negotiations between the AG's office and Saipan Development Principal Don Kurtz back in July. Saipan Development would not commit to a 10% reduction, and under the terms of the PPA that was ultimately signed, there is no penalty for failure to meet the 10% goal. CUC also cannot terminate the contract if intended efficiencies are not achieved. The issue was raised by lawmakers during impeachment hearings in October, which Power Plant Director Wallen Young Fung acknowledged was a problem.
If there's an opportunity to build a new plant, that the efficiency should be a minimum of 10% or better. And the PPA agreement should reflect that, and there should be penalties. The typical practice is there should be penalties if you don't meet that efficiency. Otherwise, the question will be raised: why build a new plant in the first place if it can't do better than the old plant? I mean, it's common sense.